But I wanted to welcome everyone. This is Alice Berg with AIM Technologies. Today we have Carly Cantrell. She is going to cover Management Reporter for us. She's our main Management Reporter consultant. And, in 30 minutes, she's going to go over some tips and tricks for us. And any additional information that you might need, we'll be happy to follow up with you after the session. This is going to be recorded, so we're going to put everybody on mute. If you have questions, go ahead and either type them into the chat box or hold them for the end, and we'll open up the mics when once Carly has finished her session. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton to Carly.
Well, good morning, everybody. Just to let you know, Management Reporter is a free product that comes with GP. It's included as a separate download, and it's used for financial reporting. The main difference with Management Reporter compared to the reports within GP are that you can structure the data to your liking, but it only comes from the general ledger. You can see information from the submodules, but it's only data that resides within the general ledger that you're reporting on. So you can't really do like an AP trial balance and things like that. I've had a lot of questions regarding that lately, so just wanted to put that out there as a differentiating product right now. The other thing I wanted to touch on in the beginning is the future of Management Reporter. There is a lot of rumors going around that Microsoft has stopped supporting this product, and that is not true. Management Reporter will be supported, it's supported now, and it will be supported in any future releases of Dynamics GP. There are other products out there that can be used for Management Reporter. So if Management Reporter does not meet your needs or you have any questions about it, let us know. If you're looking for something else, we've got a lot of products that we can recommend that may be more to your liking. So with all that being said, let me go ahead and get started. Right now I'm in a test system of GP, so it only has one company, and I'm using the test reports that Management Reporter puts out there. When you download Management Reporter, it comes with some default reports. I'm in the report definitions right now, and the report definitions is a section that you connect all the pieces that create the financials. It's the way that you it's the way that you run reports. So whenever you open them up, you have all your connections, your rows, your columns, your trees, which I'll be explaining soon. But I wanted to give you a statement to look at before we start that. So this is Management Reporter. This is the report definition window. Keep in mind that you've got two products that you use. It's the Management Reporter Designer and the Report Viewer. Right now we're in the Report Designer. Report Designer is where you render your reports, and when you view them, you can either view them in the Web Viewer or in the Report Viewer. I personally prefer the Report Viewer. I'm old school. I've been using this product for a long time, came from FRX, and it just is familiar to me. However, the Web Viewer is available, and it's actually the default whenever you install Management Reporter. So if you would go up to Tools and Options, you can specify, I want to use the Report Viewer as my default viewer, and that's what I've marked here. So whenever I'm rendering these reports, you'll see them in the Report Viewer. There's also some other options in here that you can play around with. At startup, how do you want it to view, and in Microsoft Excel, when you export to Excel, how do you want it to view? Do you want to see a page layout, or do you want to see the normal view? Those are some most common features as well in this option. So let's go ahead and run one of the reports. So to be able to run the report, I'm just going to click generate, and it's going to render my report for 2014. Okay, so I've got some data. This is, like I said, the default basic report out of Management Reporter, and it's got my January data and my year-to-date data, which should be the same since it's a fiscal year. There are options whenever you run these reports to be able to drill down. This report currently is on financial, account, and transaction detail level. And what that means is, this is the financial, it's the overview of the report. I can also drill into the account portion of this. So it'll show every account within that section. And I can also drill into the transaction level. And the transaction level is the individual journal entries that are associated with this count for this period. There is also a go-to in GP where you can click on these and actually be able to go into GP to be able to see the journal entry. I'm not going to demo that right now, but that all comes into the Dynamics GP portion up there. Okay, another option whenever we're looking at report to next definitions is the posted activity only. You can say only posted activity. Posted activity meaning anything in your GL that has been posted. So for instance, if you have an AP transaction that you posted and you have it going into series post in the financial module, but you actually haven't series posted it, it will not appear in this report if I have posted activity only. If you do posted and unposted, it will appear in there. I have some customers that only series post once a month, so they always run their reports on posted and unposted. And I have a lot of customers that use recurring journal entries that would prefer only to see posted activity because they have a lot of journal entries out there that they're not necessarily posting this month. So it's your preference on how you want to see it. Okay, so other basic information about Management Reporter is that it is made up of rows, columns, and trees. So a row would be, which shows up here, the rows. The columns would be the January, these percentage columns, the year-to-date, that's the column, and the tree I haven't demoed yet. This is how you create your report. If you want to start from a out-of-the-box report from Management Reporter, they have some here to show. The most common way to do these is to put in your sections, and you can use your account categories from GP. And when I say account categories, let me go and show you guys that are used to the GP accounts. If I pull up a GP account, all of these have categories. If you set the categories up correctly, you can just pull in a specific category into your statements, and it will be a summary report. However, you can put it on financial and account and export it out to Excel, and it'll be a detailed report, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. But that's one of the most common ways is to use the account category. We like using the account category because if you end up adding accounts every month, they will automatically come into your reports. The downside to using this is there's a lot of people that want to see on the face of their reports the individual accounts, and this will not show you that on the face of the income statement. It'll show you this is how you're going to see it. But if you want to drill into it and see the accounts, then you would you'd be able to see it there. So there's upsides and downsides to using the account categories. The other thing that Management Reporter does, in contrast to what FRX used to use, if any of you guys are old school as well and used to use FRX, you had to use full account numbers or wildcards because it reported on the full account numbers within GP. In Management Reporter, it actually uses what's called dimensions. The dimensions are what make up your account number. So when you have dashes in your account number, or however you use to differentiate your different account segments, that is what we pull into GP. So currently we have a 4-segment GL, and the last segment is an A or a C, according to if it's a cash account or accrual account, which is our product that we sell. So you can pull in any account, department, division into your, in order to report on. So for instance, let's say that I want to come in here and I want to list out all the accounts underneath sales. The easiest way to do this is to highlight the row that I want to insert, and I can use the edit and insert from dimensions product. Most people don't know about this, so let me show you how it works. So insert row from dimensions will actually go to the company that I'm signed into right now, and I can tell it I want to pull in all my sales accounts. So I'm going to come in here and type my sales account range, my main account range, from 4110 to 4142. I can tell it how to increment the rows and all. When I click OK, it now inserted every account from my GL, and it used the description based off of the account segment description. So whenever you're setting up GP or you're adding a new account, it asks you if you want to add the segment description. So if I come in here, okay, did I type in the wrong one? Okay, there's no segment description. So I'm so sorry. So it should have pulled in that. So anyway, it's pulling in the descriptions, and it's pulling in every account in that account range. This is an easy way to add all the segments from your accounts. When I add them, I'm sorry, I just did that wrong. Okay, so when I add them in here, now I can use, instead of pulling in the account category of sales, I could come in here and tell it to total this row if I wanted to do it that way. And I could say total 190 to 880. And now whenever I run this report, it will show all those individual accounts that I just brought in. And there we go. So now you can see that it's the same amount that I had before, but now it lists out all my accounts. Okay, moving on. Another thing I wanted to show you was a trial balance. Lots of people have problems with the trial balance in GP, the out-of-the-box report in GP, because you can't really export it out to Excel very well. Included in the default definitions is the detailed trial balance, and I want to show you how easy this row is. All it's doing is saying pull in all my accounts. This is all it's telling me to pull in whenever I do my row format. I'm not bringing in every account. It's going to automatically go to GP and pull every account for the company that I'm running this for. So when I run it, I'm sorry, I should have ran all these before. It's going to show me all my accounts. However, whenever I drill into it, I can see every account. Then I can also export this out to Excel. And now I've got my trial balance. In Excel, I can look at things just to make sure everything balances. If I go to the A tab in here, it'll show all my accounts and all my balances. And of course, you can change up these columns as needed. If you want to see a beginning balance, debit, credit, net difference, like you would in the GP report, that can definitely be added in your columns. So that's how a very easy row format can be created. Let's look at the columns format, since I haven't showed that yet. Let me go to my, not that one, sorry. This is my year-to-date and variance. That would be for a, what this is doing is comparing the current year to last year. So to give you an explanation on the column, your fiscal year would be your base. Let me bring up these side by side so you can kind of see what I'm saying. All right, so this is called your base period and your base year. You can toggle these as needed. If you wanted to run it for February of 2014, you would toggle that and it would change that. So when you're building your columns, you have to look at what column. So my fiscal year would be base, which would be 2014, and then base -1 in this column, which would be 2014 -1. Same thing for the period. It would be February for each one, and the periods covered would be year to date. There's all kinds of options in here that I'm not going to go into, but you can always look at the default ones to see how everything goes. This is the one that I was running for my income statement, where it's actually pulling in that current month, which is period covers periodic, and year to date would be your year to date column. Other thing to note is that you can restrict columns to certain accounts. So for instance, you have a column that you want to bring in your units. So I have a couple customers that actually will create unit accounts within GP, and they'll do that for some of our pharmacies. You use the number of scripts that are written within the month. So we'll actually build that into the rows, and then in the columns, we insert a column and we restrict that column to the actual account numbers. So under the dimension filter, I would bring in just those unit accounts in here. So when you run the income statement, you'll have your regular accounts in one column and then your unit accounts in another column, and you can do calculations and all that on that. Not getting into detail on that, but if you have a need to be able to run reports based off of any type of anything that you track as far as numbers go, some people will do payroll reports based on headcount in a department. I've done scripts, I've done all kinds of stuff. The other thing I didn't mention was the base row. In the income statement that we ran, you see how there's a percentage of, I've got to go back to the main, there's a percentage of sales in here. So if you want to be able to run an income statement and show the percentage of sales in your row, you can tell it which base row. So right at the beginning, we're telling it our base row will be row 1000, which is total revenues. So now, whenever we look at the income statement, every column will be compared to the total revenues. So it'll give us a percentage of total revenues. That's one of our most common features in GP to be able to do that. I do have customers that are using, that every section uses a different base row. So depending on what kind of detail reports you're running, you can tell it, okay, well, on this line, I want to see the percentage of total operating expenses. I can change my base row to be the total operating expenses, and instead of based on sales here, it would show based on the operating expenses. All right. Let's see where else do I want to. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Okay, so let's look at some most common questions that I have. One of them is, how do I know if on my row format I duplicate an account? That is actually an option in output and distribution under the reports definition. You can mark this option right here that says report duplicate accounts. And when you run the statement, it will actually put a duplicate account sheet in there for you to be able to see. So that's one really easy way to see if you have two accounts for the same statement on there. Another common question I have is, I added some accounts, now my balance sheet doesn't match, or my income statement doesn't match to my balance sheet. How do I find those accounts? There is no easy answer to that. Just to let you know that there is a tool within GP, but it doesn't work perfectly all the time, depending on how you have your statement structured. So this missing account analysis, and I'm sorry I did that pretty quick, so let me reopen it. Under tools and miscellaneous missing account analysis, this will pull up your different statements so that you can see if an account is missing. So for instance, if I look at the balance sheet default, it will tell me all my account categories that are missing. This is great if you're just using account categories. However, 99% of our customers will actually use a combination of account categories and accounts in order to render their statements. If that's the case, this missing account analysis it'll look at both the account category and the accounts missing, so it's not a perfect picture of what you're missing. So this is a great feature and I love it, and it is my first go-to, but I just wanted to mention that it is not an end-all. One of the most common things that I will do is I will run the statement. I will export it out to Excel. When I click export, I say current reporting unit, and I want to see this account details report. I'm taking off the transaction one. So when I export it out to Excel, it will bring in every account number that I have on this statement. I'll actually take this and I'll do like a text to column where I tell it to separate out this account number, and then I'll run the trial balance one, and I'll compare each account number on this statement to each account number on the income statement and see which ones are missing. I use big VLOOKUPs in GP, so I mean in Excel. So that's one of the easiest ways that I do it, but you could visually look at it as well, where you print out a trial balance and look at this account detail and see which accounts are missing. All right, one other feature under the settings that I wanted to show you is the display amounts. It's display rows with no amounts. When you're looking at the statement, let's see if this one has any. For instance, the selling and advertising expense line, it's still showing up on here because whenever I look at my settings, I have display rows with no amounts marked. If I unmark that and run this report, it will not show any of those lines that have 0 amounts on them. Most people do like to see, would not like to see them rows with no accounts on them. Oh gosh, I just looked at my time. So that's a great little feature right there. One other thing I just wanted to show you that most people are not aware of is in your report library, there's a feature called versions. If you right-click the report and say show versions, it will show every time you've rendered this report. That's good if your report changed from 2 days ago whenever you ran it and you want to go back and look at that report, you can just highlight it and say open, and that will show you the report that you ran before. So I used to use that a lot as an accountant. And I apologize that I've been rambling and I haven't even gotten to half the stuff I wanted to talk about. So Brian, do you want to open this up for questions? Since it's 11:25. Does anybody have any questions?
Yep. If you've got any questions, feel free to, you can either raise your hand and I'll unmute you, or you can type it in. Either way. Well, Carly, it looks like you nailed it. I don't see any questions coming in at all.
Okay, well, let
Alice?
me show one. Can I show one more thing then? Because I wanted to show this balance sheet and income statement, because it's got a feature in here that most people do not know about. In your rows, you can set up a row that says column in it, and it will actually give you side-by-side reporting. So you can see the balance sheet and the income statement side by side. Or for instance, you have the income statement and you want to see the gross profit section in one column and the operating expenses in another column, you can do that as well. So in your row format, all you have to do is add this row right here that says columns, and that will separate it out to a separate column. And that is one of the features that I don't think I've ever come across anybody that realized you could do that. So I just wanted to show that. And I apologize for taking so much time.
Thank you so much,
ahead,
Carly.
Brian.
No, if we, if anyone who's on the call would like a follow-up information or demonstration, just let us know. The whole point is to get us started towards a dialogue. So please feel free to reach out to us if that's the case. And we will also be posting this video if you need to share, if you'd like to share it with others or go back and review it. So it will be on our website as soon as we get it rendered. Thank you, everyone.